In this video, we are going to learn how to put rational numbers in order now that we have expanded our understanding of numbers to include negatives. So for our vocabulary, we are going to have small numbers and big numbers. So we have hopefully a very intuitive understanding of what a small number might be, right? Something like 0.01 has usually qualified as being small. Now, when we think about it, a small number is always going to be further to the left on a number line. And a big number should be further to the right on a number line. But now that we have negative numbers, does that change? Well, no. So if we have 0 here, and then I have -1, -2, -3, that means that -3 is smaller than -2. It also means that -3 is smaller than 0. -3 is less than 0. Some other words that might be used to indicate small numbers would be if you were asked to find the least of a set of values, the lower number, the less or the lesser of two values, similar to the small or smaller. And then for big numbers, those are further to the right. This one shouldn't feel as different, right? 1,000,000 is still a big number. It's anything further to the right. So 4 is still bigger than 3. 4 is also bigger than, say, -4. But what this also means is that -4 is bigger than -5 because -4 is further to the right. Some other words that might be used to indicate a big number would be larger, greater, etc. Big and small, and add down to a way that we indicate smaller numbers, and up as a way that we indicate bigger numbers. So let's say we have the set of integers listed here. In order to put these in order, we are going to make a number line. So let's make one now, making sure to make it big enough to fit all of our values. Now we're not just going to draw the numbers on here, we're going to draw all the numbers. Or at least we're going to leave space for them. So I'm just going to number every 5. So I numbered out to where 8 would be. And then I'm going to do the same thing backwards. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8. And now that I have my numbers labeled, I'm going to go ahead and just put down some dots where I think my values go. So -11, I counted that out. That was just past -10 here. That's my -11. And then 5, that's a positive number, so that's up here to the right of 0. 3, it's not quite as far. -1 is just down below, one below 0. And then 0, of course, is right there. And finally, -2, just a little bit further down than -1. In fact, let's go back to our list of, and then finally, since you were asked to put these numbers in order, we need to rewrite them as an ordered list. So we were asked to put these numbers in order from least to greatest. So that means that we need to start with our -11 because that is the smallest number on our list because it is further to the left on the number line. So we're going to do -11, then -2, -1, 0, 3, and 5, with -11 being my smallest and 5 being my biggest number. May seem a little bit counterintuitive that -11 isn't bigger than 5, right? Because 11 is bigger than 5. but negative 11 is much smaller. Okay, let's do another list. This time you'll notice there's no positives in here to mix things up. And once again, we are going to put these in order from the smallest to the largest, or from the least to the greatest. And once again, I want us to start by putting these on a number line. Now, before we start, take a moment and I want you to decide which of these numbers do you think is going to be the least? Which one is going to be the smallest? Did you say negative 15? If so, that's great. If you said negative 1, don't worry. It just means you're still thinking about the way things work when they're positive. In negative, we just want it to be to the left on the number line, which isn't the same anymore as having the smallest distance from 0, because now we can go down under 0. So let's go ahead and make our number line, and I'm going to put 0 all the way over here to the right, because there's no positive numbers. There's not going to be anything above that. And then I'm going to number going down. And once again, I'm just going to number every 5, because I feel like it helps me keep my graphs a little bit neater when I'm not trying to cram in quite so many numbers, but it's still easy to read. You can absolutely do that in your work too if you'd like, or you can number each one. Okay, so now let's put our numbers down. So I'll start with negative 6. Negative 6, well, if this is negative 5, then negative 6 is one below it, because negative 6 is between negative 5 and negative 10. Then let's do negative 1. That's just one below 0. Negative 4. Well, that's on the other side of negative 5, so that's got to be right there. That also should make sense because 4 is between 5 and 0. Negative 15. That's all the way down here. That one was numbered, so that one was easy. And then negative 8. Well, that's also between 5 and 10, so that must be 2 above 10. And then finally we have number 5 itself, right there. Okay, so we've got them on the number line. So now I need to order them from least to greatest. So that would put negative 15 first as the lowest of these numbers. And then negative 8, negative 6, negative 5, negative 4, and finally negative 1. Does it feel weird to you that negative 15 is the smallest of this set and that negative 1 is the biggest? It's okay if it does. It does a little bit to me too. Just accept it, own it, embrace it. All right, for our last example, we're going to order some rational numbers. So you'll see there's some fractional values in here. Let's once again set this up with a number line. This time I'm just going to spread mine out a little bit more. Notice when you look at my number line how even though I have it spread out, I have exactly 4 boxes between each one. So you don't have to have 4, but they does need to be the same number between each one when you spread them out like this. All right, so let's put our values on the number line. So 1.5, well, 1.5 is between 1 and 2, exactly halfway between. So that's 1 and a half. Then we have negative 3 here. Now we have negative 3/4. Well, 3/4 is between 0 and 1, but this is negative 3/4, so that must be between 0 and negative 1. And it's closer to negative 1, right? Because it's only a quarter away. So that means it would be right here at negative 3/4, between 0 and 1, but closer to 1. 0 goes here. Negative 2.1, well, that 2.1 would be between 2 and 3. So this must be between 2 and negative 3, but it's a lot closer to 2. And then 2 is just right up here. And then 2.04, that's just barely bigger. Like that. Now let's put our numbers in order. First we had negative 3, then negative 2.1, then negative 3/4, then 0, 1 1/2, 2, and 2.04, 2 4/100. Suppose I never said what order to do this in, but we want it from least to greatest. Sometimes I'll ask you to do it the other way around, but usually we like least to greatest. All right, for your last problem, I need you to put these values in order from least to greatest. Use a number line even if you can do it in your head.